So you're thinking about moving to Colorado Springs, are you? But you're also thinking, well, is Colorado anything like what I imagine it to be? Well, in today's video, I'm gonna be covering the top things I wish I knew before moving to Colorado Springs. And we're getting into it next. Hey, what's up everyone? Mark Davis here and welcome to the Colorado Springs Life. And if this is the first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living, working, and playing right here in the Springs, then you're in the right place. And if you're thinking about moving your family out to Colorado Springs or any of our surrounding areas, then give us a call. My team and I, we get contacted from folks all over the country and we absolutely love it. So give us a shout, shoot us a text, send us a DM, email us, whatever works best for you. We got your back when moving to the Springs. So you're thinking about moving to Colorado Springs. Well, today we're gonna be talking about some of the top things that I've noticed about living here that aren't necessarily negatives, but just things that I wish somebody would have told me before I moved to Colorado Springs. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so what is the first thing that you think about when you picture Colorado in your mind? I know, right? Snow and mountains, but it's not really like that here in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is actually a very mild climate region of the country. And I say mild climate because we don't really get a lot of snow here. I know that sounds crazy, but number one, we're not actually in the mountains. We're at the base of the foothills. So you see Pikes Peak and the Front Range every time you look west. So whether that's coming out of your front yard or driving down the street, you just see the Front Range, vertical mountains. But we're not actually in the mountains. We're in a flat plain. Now, that being said, the actual weather here is very mild. You're gonna notice that you're not really dealing with a lot of snow here. I mean, the snow does fall, but it's not like it's blanketing Colorado or Colorado Springs. It's not like you're digging yourself out of snow very often at all. And as a matter of fact, we have more sunshine here than almost the rest of the country. I'm getting notes, comments in my description that are basically saying, hey, 0 degrees, I mean, does it drop below 0 degrees? And it never really does. I mean, every now and again, it might, like once a year, a couple times a year, but for the most part, we're never below 0. We're at freezing level if it's really cold in the wintertime, but for the most part, it warms up. So we have kind of a mild climate here. Next thing I wish somebody would have told me before I moved to the Springs is the fact that you can choice in to any school district here. You do not have to live right next to the school that your kids are going to be going to. And it's very different than other parts of the country. People buy homes and kind of like set their roots down based on if the neighborhood or their house is close to the school that they want to go to. But here, you don't have to live close to the school or next to the school that you're interested in. You can choice into any school. So, my wife and I, we handpicked a certain area of the Springs that we wanted to live because of the school district and because of a specific school. And we ended up finding out that we were right on the border of that school. And we ended up changing our mind about the school and altogether once we found out that, yeah, we can send our kids anywhere we want. So you're not like locked into a school district based on where you live. I know people that live in different parts of the Springs because maybe they like a certain part of the Springs better than another, but yet they like a school that's not as close or maybe in a different neighborhood, and then they just choice in and go there. So that's something to keep in mind, especially if you have school age kids or if you are a newer parent. It's something to kind of plan or prepare for as you move forward. Next is radon gas. Now, radon gas is a real thing here. Radon gas is the second leading cause of lung cancer. And so the EPA says that anything above a 4.0 level is something that's considered dangerous to your health or toxic. So radon gas can be in any neighborhood, any price point of home, any size of home. It doesn't matter if there's mountains or if it's flat. You can there's neighborhoods that have radon pockets in a certain street, a certain part of the neighborhood, or literally house to house. One house might have 0 radon gas, the next house level 14. When we built our house, we had 14.3 level of radon. Obviously, we had to deal with it. So radon, like I said, is the second leading cause of lung cancer. It's a toxic gas. And basically, I'm gonna put a description above that kind of explains exactly what it is, but it's very occurring here in Colorado Springs, and it's something that's toxic and dangerous. So the solution to that is you wanna get a radon mitigation system. And a radon mitigation system is something that basically helps circulate the air, the stagnant air that can capture or gather up this radon gas. That radon mitigation system will help to get the air circulating and then pump the gas out of your house so that you're not exposed to a radon gas for a long period of time. Now, don't get me wrong, just because you get a radon test, let's say you buy a home here or you move into a home and you test for radon and it's like 1.0 or 2 or something like that, it's not necessarily going to cause it's not something to be too concerned about, because number one, you have to have a lot of exposure to radon gas in a confined area for it to be toxic. But like I said, EPA says that anything above 4.0 level, it's a good idea to get a radon mitigation system. And radon mitigation systems, I mean, at the time of filming this, run anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500. So it's something that some builders, if you're building a new house, will include. Other builders will not include it. You're on your own. You'll just have to deal with it after you close. And then some houses, even still pre-existing homes, will have a radon mitigation system already installed. So just do your due diligence and realize, it's the mitigation system's on the house, but you still want to test and make sure it's working correctly. Because I've ran into situations with clients where the radon mitigation system was on the house. We were all happy about that, but then we come to find out it hasn't worked in 2 years. So they had really high radon levels. So that's something that was new to me when I moved here and that I was not aware of that was an issue. So next thing that I wish people would have told me before moving here is the fact that it's hard to catch your breath here. I know that sounds weird, but like, here, give you an example. I can run on a treadmill not all day. I mean, I'm not a marathon runner. I'm an aspiring runner, but like I can run on the treadmill without it being a problem, because maybe I'm psyching myself up, but I can run up just a flight of stairs and just be like out of breath, And so it's funny because whenever like my wife and I are doing anything active around the house or doing chores or running around or whatever, sometimes we catch ourselves like out of breath, and she's always like, you're out of breath? I'm like, yeah, because you just got to get that second wind, and it's like that here. So be prepared for that. I mean, if you're going to be doing crazy active outdoor physical stuff, then you definitely want to prepare. But I think that's kind of something that will catch you off guard, is you can you can run out of breath very quickly here in Colorado. So in Colorado Springs. So it's just something to keep in mind. Like I said, if you're preparing yourself for a run or working out at the gym or doing something like that, then of course it's like you don't really notice it. But when you're, I'm showing houses, so I'm in and out of houses all the time, and I'll run up, flight of stairs or walk really fast up a flight of stairs, and I'll get to the top and I'll notice that I'm sort of out of breath. So walking and just stuff like that, quick jog, you find yourself being out of breath pretty quick. So just be aware of that. Next is being sunburned. You can become sunburned very easily here in Colorado Springs. Now, my friends that are lighter complexion than myself are always complaining about this, but even myself, I've noticed that I've become sunburned very quickly. And it's crazy because I'll travel to Florida or, the Bahamas or whatever, and I will get a tan and it's not a problem. But here I'll get sunburned, and there's a big difference. So now I kind of know what some of my, fair complected friends and my wife feels like when they're always complaining about, getting baked and being red and being sunburned. So you may not expect that you can get sunburned, but it's very easy. So like, for instance, I'll drive with my top down on my Jeep, and not all day long, just like an afternoon, I took my boys out and we just hung out, had a father and son day, and we took the top off at 3 o'clock, put it back on at 5 o'clock, but by the time I got home at 7, my forehead was red, and I was like, man, I felt my forehead. I was like, it's sore. It's like getting sunburned. And I think it was because that sun was just hitting my forehead with the top down. And I guess that UV protection, that windshield wasn't there. And just a couple hours, and it wasn't even like it was a super hot 90+ degree day. It was just like a regular day, actually kind of chilly. And but just having that direct exposure to the sun here will get you burnt. And I think it's because of our thin climate, our dry air, dry thin air. Plus our atmosphere, I think, is kind of different than, there's not a lot of stuff in the air maybe. It's like we have really clean, thin air, but we're also a mile high above sea level. So we're actually closer to the sun. And I think that's really what it is. And so just be aware of that. You could be out no matter what you're wearing. If you're exposed, your skin is exposed to the elements. And even if it's not really like hot, even if it's kind of cold, that sun is so close to us that it will burn you. It will burn your skin. Maybe because our atmosphere is, I think, less dense and the air is cleaner here. So that might have something to do with the fact that that sun can just hit you really hard. Plus, I've been told that it's kind of like comparing a microwave heat to oven heat. So microwave is just like almost like not almost, it is an artificial kind of a heat. It just kind of zaps you. And then oven heat is like a kind of warmer, sort of builds, and it just roasts. That's the way that I'm explaining it, I guess, roast, right? But with us, we have that microwave heat, and it's just that microwave sun will zap you. We're closer to the sun because we're a mile high above sea level. So just be prepared that you can get burnt very quick. You're not preparing to go to any sort of ocean, or you're not trying to work on your tan. You're just out and about doing your thing. You're gonna be exposed to that microwave heat, that sun, and you could get home and be completely red. My wife, she complains about it all the time. And like I said, I mean, it doesn't happen to me very often, but I have noticed when I drive the Jeep with the top down, directly hitting that sun, my face and my forehead can be red and can be sunburned. So, but I was not expecting to deal with anything like that when I got here. So it's just something to keep in mind. Maybe we wear some of that SPF 15. Now, if you're still considering moving here and you want to know more about what Colorado Springs has to offer, then start by subscribing to the channel, hit that little bell notification button so you never miss out. And as always, my friends, until next time, Mark out.